Physical evidence can corroborate statements from the victim, witness, and suspect. Physical evidence is objective and, when documented, collected, and preserved properly, may be the only way to reliably place or link someone to a crime scene. Physical evidence is often referred to as the silent witness. Evidence number 2, powder residue. Powder residues can indicate whether a hole was caused by a bullet and can differentiate between entrance and exit holes. They can assess in determining from which direction a victim was shot, and along with powder patterns, provide an estimate of the distance. Package material carefully in order not to destroy powder residues. Evidence number 3, shotgun shells. Shotgun shells can indicate the type of ammunition used and whether or not it was fired in a specific weapon. Handle shotgun shells in the same manner as in cartridge cases. If shells are wax, scrape off the wax and mark initials with a pen. In plastic, scratch initials into a plastic with a sharp tool. Never mark on the brass portion. Clothing. Evidence number 4. The clothing of both the victim and the suspect are often good source of trace evidence and practically a variety of crimes. Collect all outer clothing. Be careful not to shake off the trace evidence when clothing is removed. Have subject stand on the clean paper when undressing the place of the folded paper in the container with the clothing. Dead bodies should be undressed over a clean sheet to avoid loss of trace evidence. Package each item of clothing separately. Be careful to identify each item and properly label. Establish if this is a clothing worn at the time of the crime. Do not rely on others to collect clothing on the hospitals and mortuaries. This may complicate identification later. Keep tight chain of custody, as clothing is often the most important single item of evidence and ownership may be disputed. Evidence number 5, firearms. Firearms must be handled very carefully, not only as a safety factor but to avoid disturbing any evidence they may provide. They must be properly marked for a later identification. Never insert anything in the barrel, as they may damage the identifying characteristics and dislodge materials which may be inside the barrel. Evidence number 6, glasses. Glass may be important evidence in robberies and hit-and-run cases. It may be found as trace evidence in clothing and shoes. Glass is usually examined to determine if both the evidence sample and the known standards has the same physical properties and trace elements as impurities. Additional examinations can be made to determine from which side force was applied. Glass broken by fire shows a different pattern because the breaking is induced by differences in expansion of the glass. Physical match of glass from the crime scene to glass found in the suspect's possession is good possibility. Samples should be collected from each broken piece of glass at crime scene. This should be packaged individually in glass vials or envelopes. In hit-and-run cases, collect all broken glass to ensure there is possibility of a physical match should fragments be found on suspect's vehicle. If there are other included in broken glasses and serve as a physical evidence, get it also and separate to the broken glasses. Evidence number 7, blood. Blood often become important evidence in homicides, assaults, robberies, or other cases where it may be applied. Blood can be categorized into a major groups types of A, B, AB, and O, depending on the condition on the stain on receipt. Major group similarities does not identify a suspect but does include a portion of the population depending on a group type. When collecting a liquid sample of blood, observe the following procedures. Use a clean disposable pipette or eyedropper for each sample collected. Place the sample in a small container, avoiding excess air space because air will cause the same to dry. Evidence number 8, wood. Get the large samples from a spot near the area destroyed. Include all coating or of paint, tar, roping, etc. Place samples in clear paper bags or cellophane, identify and label them. Evidence number 9, shotgun pellets and a bullet also. Recover as many as possible. At least 4 or 5 are needed for accurate sizing. Always dry the wads before packaging to prevent deterioration. Do not mark the items but seal them in containers and mark the containers with initial and where and when the item were obtained. Handle a bullet so as not to dislodge any extraneous materials or damage the marking. Wrap each bullet separately in tissues or cotton to prevent damage and place in container. If the bullet is too small to be easily marked or there is possibly of dislodging evidence from the nose, seal the date and information as to where and when the bullet was found onto the container. Evidence number 1, hair. Identify hairs carefully as to exact location found. Do not mix hairs found in different locations. Place the hair in the folded paper and put in the envelope or glass vials and seal. Do not tape the hair to an object as this alters the hair and destroys any debris adhering to it. That's all. Thank you.